Dukpe Olushola. Please put your hands together for him. Mrs. Dukpe Olushola, please put your hands together for the representative. Thank you.
Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will not be forgiven if we don't specially appreciate the author for today, whom we describe in many forms. It's my profound pleasure to introduce him. In a world where journalism is a paragon of editorial excellence and a mentor to countless aspiring journalists, the senior vice chairman and editor-in-chief of leadership newspapers, a distinguished career spanning over 35 years. He embodies the very essence of journalism, integrity, and rigor. He's a seasoned practitioner and educator in the art of journalism. Our esteemed guest, distinguished guest, he deftly navigated the ever-evolving landscape of media with an unwavering commitment to truth and excellence. As an editor and administrator, he has reached the hem of one of the nation's most respected newspaper groups, where most of the other reporters and editors came out from. Anybody who has stayed in the North will know that leadership, of course, is the midwife of every other paper. Beyond the newsroom, this remarkable man has also authored several works that continue to inspire and educate the future generations. His contribution as a judge to the prestigious journalism awards that set benchmark for excellence is also one that we continue to commend. In the realm of the academia, he has also imparted wisdom and insights to countless students, nurturing the next wave of journalist talents with a blend of rigorous scholarship, practical experience, and a little bit of tightening of belt. Today, distinguished guests, we are not talking about a book alone. We honor this titan of journalism, this visionary leader whose life's work stands as a testament to the transformative power of the written word. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is it too much to ask that we celebrate this man, the author for today's book? Please put your hands together as I ask that we celebrate our own Azuvi. Please put your hands together for him specially. It is not easy to have done this and to do this so beautifully. I know that I used to have a neighbor who wrote a book about how to make money. And then he came to me and asked me that I should give him money to publish it. So I told him to read the book again. Probably he will get the message that he had done past. But Azu for us represents what he teaches, what he writes, and of course today you'll agree with me that he is a product of his own book. Please put your hands together for him. Coming up next, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is the remarks by the founder and chief executive officer of Premium Times, Mr. Dakpo Olorunyomi, is represented here today by one who is equally respected, a 2012 Knight of Journalism Fellow at the Stanford University, a fellow at the City University, and a jury member of the UNESCO World Press Freedom. Please welcome an award-winning investigative journalist, editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Premium Times. Please put your hands together as I welcome Musikliu Mujid. Please put your hands together for him. He's coming up from afar, but if he comes here, you would think that he's not coming from far. Please clap for him. Clap for him. He's coming up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm making this remark on behalf of my boss, the publisher of Premium Times, who is unavoidably absent. He's traveling at the moment. But he has asked me to make the remark, which I'm going to read right away. So the chairman of this occasion, Honorable Minister, our special guest of honor, the chairman of the leadership group, our reviewer today, our panelists, the author of the book, all special guests here present, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure on behalf of Premium Times Books and the leadership group to welcome you all here today. We are delighted to have you with us to participate in this special occasion. Thank you for coming. That many of you willingly set aside other engagements to be here serve as a reminder to us just how important our work and the book we are presenting today are. We started the Premium Times newspaper in 2011 with the vision of strengthening Nigerians' democracy and advancing the social, economic well-being and rights of citizens. We did understand back then that we have to keep citizens and friends of Nigeria well informed so they can guard and reap the benefits of democracy. 4 years into our pursuit of that vision, we saw the need to provide other platforms for people to engage, hence the addition of Premium Times books to our corporate portfolio. Premium Times book has 3 principal missions, namely to expand the reading public in Nigeria, to make essential books easily available to the reading public, and to bring books about Nigeria published in Europe, America, and elsewhere home to Nigeria. Her very first book, Naija No Dey Carry Last, by the late distinguished Professor Pius Adesami, satisfied the 3 mission items and set the tone for future books. May Professor Adesami's soul continue to rest in perfect peace. So far, each title we have published taps into critical national debate and brings fresh perspectives into subjects of nationwide concern, from Quranic schools in northern Nigeria, which focused on the Amajiri problem, through the Boko Haram trilogy, to cyber politics by Dr. Omani Bieton. Premium Times book has not shied away from the heavy-hitting topics dominating national conversation. Each title in the Boko Haram trilogy, Set and Social Disorder, Creed and Grievance, and Overcoming Boko Haram, has been individually and respectfully praised for providing a unique insight into Muslim-Muslim conflict, Muslim-Christian conflict, and the cross-border dimension to the insurgency in northern Nigeria. Together, they are renowned for their magisterial dissertation about Nigerian nationhood and constitutional review. After that, we published the Letterman inside the secret letters of former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, which was well received, widely praised, and described as a classic by many. Last year, we unveiled Cyber Politics, Social Media, Social Demography, and Voting Behavior in Nigeria, the book of brilliant and engaging writers in our country. When you read him once, you will definitely want to read him again and again. In this book, he is in his best element. And I can tell you, this offering by him is spellbinding. Thank you, Mr. Ishokune, for giving this classic, not just to journalism, not just to the media, but to our world. At Premium Times Books, we look forward to continuing to publish books that will deepen knowledge about important aspects of our lives. We are also interested in getting a number of disappearing classics back to libraries and bookshelves across our country and beyond. If you have any suggestions for us, or you have important books you want to publish, please get in touch. Once again, I welcome you all to this event. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, sir. We greatly appreciate you.
Thank you very much. We'll quickly take some recognitions and then we'll run through. May I especially welcome in our midst the Treasurer of Umpan and the CEO of Folio Media, and Mr. Fidelis Anosike. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. I also hear that our book reviewer is able to drag away from the clutches of over 50 million viewers to come and join us here. Dr. Ruben Abati. Please put your hands together for him. Also with us here, distinguished guests, we have former Governor of Ogun State, His Excellency Senator Ibikunle Amosu, represented by Barrister Adeleke Adewolo. Please put your hands together for him, the former Executive Commissioner for NCC. Also with us here, all the way from the UK, we have Dr. Alistair Shoyede, is the proprietor of Ben TV, the first black TV in Europe. He came all the way from the UK for this. You're welcome. Thank you very much for the honor. Also with us here, we have the Chief Executive Officer of Media Trust, Ahmed Shekarov. Please put your hands together for him. We have also the Provost of the International Institute of Journalism, Benga Adefoye. You're welcome, sir. We have the representative of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Manassa Muftuam, who is represented here today by Builder Chief Danladi Garba Montok. You're welcome. Please put your hands together for him. We know that whatever the governor will have done, you'll also be able to do. May I illustrations? He's a true Nigerian citizen. He represents the executive governor of Kogi State, Barrister Moses Okezie Okafor. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. Also with us here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is the managing director of Daily Sun, Mr. Onoha Uke. You're welcome. Also here is the chairman, Blueprint Editorial Board, very foremost for her very strong, witty, yet sharp pen, Hajia Zainab Okino. Please put your hands together for her. It's a list that is not possible to exhaust, but may I especially appreciate this beautiful set of people, the SA Media to the President, Mr. Tunde Rahman. Please put your hands together for him. Mr. Frederick Nwabufo, also a presidential aide, is with us. Thank you very much for coming through. One man who served as governor, also served as minister, and is also a very renowned and respected senior advocate of Nigeria, former governor of Lagos State and former minister. Let's especially appreciate Babatunde Raji Fashola, senior advocate of Nigeria, who's represented by his SA Media, Mr. Hakim Bello. Please put your hands together for him. He was the one who invited me to a law conference for the first time. And as at that time, I didn't know why lawyers wrote Esquire at the end of their names. So I wrote my name at the entrance and added Esquire. And somebody walked up to me and said, "Young man, are you a lawyer?" I said, "No, I'm a journalist." He said, "So why did you write Esquire at the end of your name?" I said, "Yes, sir. I used to be a member of the choir. Right now, I'm an ex-choir member." Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next is, of course, a very, very serious assignment. I know that the most active minister, maybe not in any other cabinet, but in this cabinet, is the Minister of Information. And to have him here with us means that this event is serious for him. I wouldn't know if somebody is outside answering his phones because he's on top dial, #1 dial in the president's list. But distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this man agreed to come and is here right on time. He's, of course, described as one of the pillars, not only of the media, but also of the PR institutes. because he trains journalists, he sets up media houses where other people are still looking for employment. And when it was time to do PR, they looked for the man who knows the job, a board of trustee member, because he couldn't have just done this as an ordinary member. We picked the best for this job. And distinguished guests, without slighting anybody in the past, this man has been fair in his speeches, true to the words, and giving you realistic figures that you don't need to go and verify. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear from him today. He's none other than our chairman for today, and I describe him directly as my chairman. I'm sure it's only the DG of Vaughan who will understand that, but it's my Oga for life. May we welcome the chairman of the occasion and the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris. May I especially refer to him as the Kakakinupe. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to give us, for us, his key address.
I was wondering if all those kind words were actually mine. The Honorable Minister of Aviation, don't mind him when he said that I'm the number one in the cabinet. We're in a media event, so I think that they are to celebrate their own. Uncle Sam, good to see you. I think I must start this protocol by recognizing our own Uncle Sam. He is perhaps the longest serving media practitioner in this country now, alive. And I wonder whether in any other profession you will have a 90-year-old man still active. We thank God for what he has done for you, and thank you for what you have done for this profession, Uncle Sam. Thank you very much for being here. The Honorable Minister of Aviation, my brother, Mr. Festus, senior advocate. I need to add that when we were in the trenches trying to fight it out to get President Bola Tinubu elected, sometimes I wonder whether he was actually a media practitioner or a lawyer or a politician. But I think he has been able to combine all. Thank you for the good work you are also doing, my brother. My sister, the wife of my friend and our wife. When I was sitting here, to be honest, my reflection went back to my own brother, Mr. Sam Ndaezaya, who created one of the best media platforms in this country, and who, let me say that we were in Lagos together, and one of the reasons that took him to Lagos, the last assignment he did before he passed on, was to elect the new executive members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria. I recall that before we left, Mr. Sam Ndaezaya was encouraging me to aspire to become the General Secretary of MPAN. And I told him that I was not prepared for that because I had a different thing on my mind. I wanted to go to contest for the governorship of my state. And so I thought going to this general secretaryship of the MPN would be a distraction. He said, until that happens, you have to be our general secretary. And we went to Lagos and he fought it out. And I became the general secretary of MPN. I actually took over from him in two very critical assignments. The first one was that he was Assistant Secretary General of the MPAN. And he stepped down because he wanted to become the president of Nigeria. Of course, that didn't come to pass, but he made his point. Second, when he passed on and I went to greet my traditional ruler, the Etunupe. After all the courtesies, he called me aside and said, "Thank you for condoling me on the death of your brother, but I want you to be the next Kakaki Nupe." And I became one. So in every respect, I think that I have every reason to be grateful and to remember my brother Sam Daza. But even as I remember Sam Daza, I also remember that year we lost about 3 distinguished media practitioners in this country. We also lost Malam Wadamaida, the founder and chairman, I think, of People's Daily. We also lost our own, the indefatigable Malam Samaila Funtua. May their souls rest in peace. I imagine that if they were all alive, all of them will be in this garden today. And I know how Uncle Sam will feel going back, thinking about this. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, my brother Bayo Onanuga, who fills in the void where the minister does not appear to be very good. And Mr. Bayo is always there. Thank you for the work you are doing. Thank you for your service to our country and to our administration. My sister, distinguished Senator Ireti, and an array of very distinguished media personalities, the generals, I will call them in this profession. And my brother, former Minister Sunday Dare. I don't know how to continue because it's difficult not to recognize your friends and especially your very senior colleagues here. But I know that if I continue, we probably will not have any time to read any speech. But I must say, it's good to see Malan Garba. No matter how you try to hide Garba Shehu, I call him Malan Garba, simply Malan Garba. Mr. Femi Adeshina, I was asking why he was in the 4th row. I saw my brother, Mr. Shogun. Why Shogun Adenina? I saw him come into this hall. So many of you, Mr. Tunde Rahman, Senior Special Assistant to the President, my friend, the media advisor to the chairman of INEC, DG Voice of Nigeria. Please, if I miss your name out, please don't be annoyed. The list is just too long for me. Mr. Gbenga, you know that we have something to talk about, but I won't use this platform. But you won't escape this time around that you are in Abuja. Mr. Aliu Akoshile, all of you. I saw Mr. Ajibola of Trust coming. I don't know where he's seated now. He's hiding somewhere. Thank you, all of you. It's actually a family. Oh, that's Mr. Ajibola. It's actually a family meeting for me, and that's why you see that I'm taking time to go through all this, and all the people on the front row. Thank you for making up time to come here. Let me especially welcome all of you to this event to mark the launch of the book, Writing for Media and Monetizing It, written by Azu Eshokwene, writer, editor, administrator, publisher, and a mentor and role model for so many young people, and currently the senior vice chairman and editor-in-chief of Leadership Group, a very respected media organization. It is my pleasure to be here today as chairman of this occasion, and I would like to thank Azu and the publishers of Premium Times for the honor. Thank you very much. I will start by highlighting 2 very significant things Azu has accomplished with regards to this book. The first one is the very act of writing this book itself, of taking time to pen something that is destined to become an industry classic. A very valuable book at that, as I previously noted. It seeks to close the critical gap between practice and entrepreneurship in the media industry. Also, a book that will benefit a very wide range of readers, young and old, both those in full-time practice and freelancers. The second significant thing that I think Mr. Azu has accomplished is also by his ability to assemble all of us here today for the launch of this book. I think this very stellar gathering of Nigeria's medias, who is who, veterans, publishers, media entrepreneurs, critics, editors, and all. This is something that is not easily, cannot be easily replicated. Thank you for being that. I think it's only Azu that can do this. 2 days ago, I woke up and the first message I saw was Idris to chair Azu's book. And then within 1 hour, I saw about 5 different headlines, and I said, the media people at it today. So if I was contemplating whether I would come or not, he was making sure that there was no route for me to escape. Azu has earned for himself a reputation as a man of many parts in our industry. He has led a large media organization. He has had very active industry participation at home and abroad, and has been a founder, judged prestigious media competitions, and taught and trained generations of young practitioners. Amidst all of this, one fact cannot be missed, and that is this, his very core. Azu sees himself first and foremost as a writer, a man whose primary calling and first love is putting pen to paper or finger to keyboard, as we have it now, and shaping public discourse in the process in the most insightful and illuminating way. One gets a sense of a veteran who is happiest when faced with a blank page, waiting to be filled with words. He has done this for more than 3 decades, and we now know he is not retiring very soon in this art of, and business of penmanship. He has done us this huge favor of distilling his great skill, talents, and experience into 280 pages of valuable, monetizable book. I'm very glad about the enthusiastic reception that writing for media and monetizing it is getting from a very wide range of quarters. Stellar reviews and comments from some of our most respected media practitioners. Equally impressive is the marketing of the book itself. Azu is walking the talk by rolling out a very compelling marketing campaign that is taking full advantage of digital and social media and leveraging e-commerce in very interesting ways. I am aware that Azu has recently launched a new website, azu.media, dedicated to this book alone. But the website is different from his personal website, azueshekwane.com, where you can find his columns, lectures, you can watch videos and learn more about his professional life. He is a veteran, showing us how things are done in the 21st century. Indeed, the way Azu has creatively deployed the internet for this new book is a testament to how well he has kept up with the changing times and technologies, as well as a solid proof of why anyone interested in the commercial side of writing should be paying very serious attention to him and what he has penned down. This is, of course, not his first book, and I'm sure there are still more coming. As we take part in this launch event, I enjoin all present here to very generously pick up copies for personal use and as gifts to friends and loved ones, people who we know are interested in making a living out of writing. Let us eagerly share the rich and deep wisdom of this very accomplished and respected colleague of ours by making sure the book gets into as many hands as possible. Nigeria's media industry truly needs more practitioners who are able to marry technical excellence with commercial success. And here is Azu, eager and ready to show the way. Through your words, you have not only informed the public, but have also inspired generations of journalists to uphold the highest standards of integrity and professionalism. Your work has been very instrumental in fostering transparency, holding those in power accountable, and championing the rights and freedoms that are the bedrock of our democracy. In an era where information is both a powerful tool and a potent weapon, your dedication to truth and objectivity has set an exemplary standard for the media. You have shown that journalism is not merely about reporting events, but also about shaping narratives that reflect the values of our society, the values of justice, fairness, and equity. We are constantly reminded by your footprints, Mr. Azu, that a free press is the cornerstone of a vibrant democracy. Indeed, documenting one's ideas on how young and upcoming journalists can master the art and craft of writing skillfully, objectively, and truthfully to derive financial benefits is a novel and highly commendable job. It provides another avenue of financial empowerment for the media and career enthusiasts. I share in the expectations ahead that this effort will open up broader opportunities to complement government's current effort to invigorate and economically empower our creative and talented young citizens. As we celebrate this milestone, it is also important to reaffirm the commitment of the Tinubu administration to a free and responsible journalism. We understand that a society can only flourish when its media organs are free to report the truth without fear of retribution and to equally hold those in authority accountable. President Tinubu's administration is therefore dedicated to creating an enabling environment where journalists can work freely without intimidation and with the assurances that their rights will be acknowledged and protected. Of course, at this juncture, I must say that it is for all of us to guard this jealously. Now, oftentimes, I'm being confronted by my colleagues that you say the media is free in this country. Why is it that so and so are being hounded? And I said, we all have to fight to make sure that no one goes to any jail because of his belief or because he's holding a pen. It is not something that we should take for granted. We all have to collectively work and ensure that we keep it. However, freedom of the press comes with enormous responsibility. As we champion the cause of a free press, it is incumbent on all of us, the media, to exercise this freedom with a sense of duty, ethics, and patriotism. It is crucial that information disseminated to the public is accurate, it is balanced, it is devoid of sensationalism, and it is also extremely in the national interest. There is no use when you report something that you know would not help to advance the cause of unity and development of your dear country. You are not doing journalism if what you do is to bring down your country or to throw the society or the community into chaos. The role of the media, therefore, in shaping public opinion and promoting national unity cannot be overstated. We must all strive to ensure that this role is played with the utmost responsibility while we work closely to advance the cause of good governance in our countries. Nevertheless, Mr. Azu, the impeccable gentleman that he is, has helped us with a compass to materialize our creativity. It is also instructive that as a media practitioner, we put ethics in the front row of our practice. We must be very wary of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. Indeed, new cankerworms that can destroy individual and corporate reputation, and above all, destabilize our society. And I often say that the victims of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation is the media itself. It is important for all of us to come together and fashion ways and means to ensure that our profession is kept above board. I want to buttress my point by saying that early on, my mandate as the nation's Minister of Information and National Orientation, I had put together a set of rules, 5 guiding principles that I and my team have put together and are also pursuing in the process of communicating government policies, which on top of it, on top of the pyramid, is to restore trust in public communication. I am very glad that I did that because ultimately the crux of trust is unarguably the ability to sustain the truth at all times. You cannot earn any trust if you yourself are not truthful about what you do and what you say. In conclusion, I once again congratulate our distinguished author on this outstanding achievement. And may your words continue to inspire, continue to educate, and illuminate the path towards a better and more prosperous society. Thank you for listening and welcome to this event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Somebody said he deserves a standing ovation. Can we just do that together? Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We appreciate you. Every of his speeches is something we hope to publish. You may attend a public presentation of this speech very soon. Please put your hands together for him. I'll want to ask forgiveness from an elder. Anybody who is from Delta know that we respect our elders, and as a coconut boy from Robo College, I also need to ask for permission. When you go to roadside and buy eyeglass, you can't see far. Sir, I apologize, sir. Please help me beg the Honorable Minister of Aviation. He's the one who signed my employment letter. Please put your hands together for him, the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Mr. Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir, for being here personally, and we apologize for not calling you earlier. Thank you, sir, for your presence. But I know that even if we call you late, you will still do what you came to do. Please put your hands together for him. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a few more recognitions. Let me especially ask that we especially appreciate and welcome others who are with us here today.
We're so honored to have one of the longest standing senator in the Federal Capital Territory, an amazing woman. When women sneeze, all the catches cold. Do we agree with that? I know we don't. Okay.
Do women actually sneeze? Do they sneeze?
Okay, we sneeze with a male permission, isn't it?
Okay, it's all right.
That makes you feel better.
No, so they say what a man can do, a woman can do later. Better.
Can do as well. Thank you so much. So we're honored to have Senator Ireti Kingigbe. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking our time to be here. We appreciate you. We welcome you to also lead in this goodwill message. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are itching to hear from you. Thank you so much. Can we please put our hands together for her as she comes up stage? Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you. Yes, ma'am, for the goodwill message. Thank you so much. The louder we clap, the faster she is here. That hands can be bigger and better. It can be louder as well. Thank you so much.
Please put your hands together for her. The fact that she was able to unseat a sitting senator makes her stay in the Senate the longest. Please clap for her.
Good morning, everybody. Small correction. Yes, I may have been running the longest, but this is actually my first term as a senator. I am honored and pleased to be here. I know Azu very well, Zainab. Sam was a very good friend of mine. And at one point, I was the chairman of leadership group with Azu being the MD at the time when Sam was running to be president. Azu is a brilliant writer. We all know that. His columns were something to be awaited for every week, just as Sam's was. Leadership, Azu, Zainab, the whole family of the leadership group, they're my family too, because of Sam. Sam, we all know, was a small man with big ideas. And, you know, Sam was brilliant. We fought a lot because he would put his hand in too many things and I'll complain, no, 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 you can't do that, and things like that. But Sam had a special love for this country. Sam also, well, Allah knows best, but Sam he was very tenacious. Anything he put his mind to, until we see the end of it, he doesn't let go of it. People like Azu are part of Sam's media family. And though he ambushed me for this speech, because I wasn't aware that I'll be given one, Azu's writing is brilliant. Azu is the future of the media. I'm happy about the way he's mentoring young people. I'll be buying some of these books for my media people as well, because they will have a lot to learn from that. And I want to say that the media is critical, every aspect of it, to our development and our future. And as the Honorable Minister said, it is a right that we all have to fight and protect passionately, because they are meant to be the conscience of any nation. They make things happen when they put their minds to it. They call all of us to order when we need to. They make us think about what we're doing and how things should be. And therefore, they are really vital to the nation. I'm always coming up to Azu with ideas of things we should be doing, series that Sam wanted us to do. I keep saying, Azu, we should actually do those series. He says, well, madam, you know me, I'm ready. You are the busy one. So this is one of many, many brilliant things that I know that Azu will be doing. As you said, it's not his first publication, and inshallah, it will not be his last. Thank you all for being here, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for her.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, we crave your indulgence. The owner of Prado Land Cruiser, BDG 332CJ. Kindly, there is a message for you outside. Thank you.
Please, if in case you didn't come with your car or you borrowed your wife's car because of the fuel situation, you may need to listen well or call her to be sure it's her car that you parked wrongly.
Prado Land Cruiser BDG 332CJ.
All right, so you may need to call your driver to go and repark. Thank you. We'll take a few more recognitions as we go on. Mr. Abdul Gombe is a member of the Advisory Board of Leadership. Please put your hands together for him. Also with us here is a former presidential spokesperson, Malam Garba Shehu. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir. We have His Excellency, the former Governor of Imo State, Honorable Ikedi Ohakim. You're welcome, sir. Also here is the former Minister of Sports, It's difficult to call him former. Some people still refer to him as the Minister of Sports, Mr. Sunday Dari. Please put your hands together for him. I know that he was a seasoned journalist. They took him to sports just to tell the story of development and to change his place, and he did. We have also with us the chairman of INEC, represented today by the Honorable National Commission and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, that is Sam Olunikum, MNI. Please put your hands together. I hope that's correct. Also with us here is the CEO of Hopicom Media Edge and co-founder of Trust Media, Akogun Isiak Ajibola. You're welcome, sir. We have also with us a former GM of the NMPC, a very renowned journalist and editor, Mr. Garbadin Mohammed. Please put your hands together for him. We have the president of UMCAA, FCT, and publisher of Nature News, Mr. Aliu Akoshile. You're welcome, sir. Also with us, distinguished guests, we have, may I especially again appreciate and correctly refer to the representative of the Kogi State Governor, His Excellency Ahmed Usman Ododo, is represented here today by the Director General, Research and Development, Head New Direction Blueprint Team, and speechwriter to the Executive Governor. He's here, Moses Okezie, Esquire. Please put your hands together for him. He's representing the governor. Thank you very much for your time. We also have with us here today the representative of the JAMB Registrar, Professor Isaac Oloyede, is represented here by Dr. Fabian Benjamin. Welcome, sir. The former Director General of the Governors Forum, Atzana Okaoro, is also with us. Thank you, sir, for being here. We have representing Ali MD of the News Agency of Nigeria, Mr. Kayode Olaiton. Thank you for coming. Also here is the chairman, Televera Group, Igu Sanomi, who's represented here by Mr. Goodluck Hai. Please put your hands together for him. Please, can we clap properly for him? This man is into oil and gas. That means he will do something proper later. Please, can we clap for him properly? Like people in the oil industry. There's one man here, he's the first oil exporter in Nigeria. He came from Kano. He said I shouldn't announce his name. He's at the back. He's into granite oil export. Please put your hands together for him. Also with us here today is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Blueprint Newspaper Group, Alhaji Salisu Umar. Please put your hands together for him. And we have SA Media, the Minister of Information, my direct boss, Mr. Rabiu Ibrahim. Please put your hands together for him. I also want to thank all the senior lecturers, particularly those who teach journalism in the country. We appreciate you for your time. One of them at the back had asked me to attend his class. He was not free to teach, so he said I should help him teach year one students. It was hard because I had not read anything, so I just told them it was during the Boko Haram time. I said, just assume that you are in a war situation, and from your war experience, write for me a short story. I noticed everybody was writing except one man, so I went to him and said, why are you not writing? I told you to assume you are in a war situation and write for me a short story. The guy looked at me straight in the eye and said, sir, I died as soon as the war started. So there's no story for you today. May I also specially invite and recognize and welcome the Vice Chairman of Leadership, Chief Mike Okpere. Please put your hands together for him. We have also the Group Managing Director of Leadership, Alhaji Moazu Eleze. I hope I got that correct. Please, those who are writing for me, write in English, not in Arabic. We have also the Managing Editor. I know this name. This is Raliat Ahmed. Please put your hands together. And we want to thank also the Editor of Leadership, Peter Ekele. Please put your hands together for them. They have been able to last 1 week work together to make sure the paper goes to bed and this book and this program is also a success. I also want us to appreciate all members of staff of leadership. Please put your hands together for them.
Thank you so kindly. So we're moving on to the next goodwill message. And we're honored to invite the Honorable Minister of Aviation. Can we please put our hands together for Honorable Festus Kayemo, SAN? Please put your hands together for him. That hands can be bigger and better. It can be louder. We're talking a man whose worth is sought. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for him, the senior advocate of Nigeria.
I didn't expect to speak here. Papa Migo. That's my father, and that's why I greeted him in a traditional way. We lived in the same area for nearly 30 years, for more than 30 years in Lagos. He's also a father, my alma mater. In fact, I'm sure 4 generations passed after I left my school before we entered. So he's a very senior member of my alma mater, Government College Ughelli. And we are the little boys of that school. So he's still my father in my alma mater. My colleague, like they described you, and I attest to that, I agree. The best performing minister of this administration, the Minister of Information and National Orientation. Apart from that, please allow me to adopt the protocol that has been established by previous speakers here in order to save time. I'll start my speech today by giving a little story. The story of one well-known billionaire in this country who was passing through the airport. He was passing through the private wing of the airport. And reporters were running after him. The reporters present at the airport, they were all running after him. And they were angling to have a minute with him. And all, security operatives, his personal aides were all preventing the reporters from reaching him. And after some time, he called his aides and said, "What do they want?" He said, "No, sir, they want to just speak with you." He said, "You know what? Come, bring my briefcase." So when they brought his briefcase, he brought a certain amount of money out, plenty of it. I said, "Please give it to them." So when the aides gave it to the journalist, the reporter, they said, "Rakadede, thank you, save Johnny, save Johnny." So he told his aides, "You can see, I have spoken to them." They didn't bother to speak with him again. So when you invite public officers like us to book lunch, I'm sure you don't want to hear my speeches. Azu wants to hear my real speech. Public officers should not be under an illusion that when they invite them to this kind of occasion, they want to hear beautiful speeches from them. They want to hear the amount of money we'll use to launch the book. Azu, Nalai. So I will not be here to deliver long speeches. Azu, you will hear from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. You see, when somebody from Delta tells you, "You will hear from me," be sure that you get the message clearly. 2 neighbors were fighting very well until one, he used to tell him, "You will hear from my lawyer. You will hear from my lawyer." The day he told him, "You will hear from my native doctor," they stopped fighting. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will take a little insight into the book, but first we will hear the story behind the book. Some professional reporters in the broadcast industry took some time, went around this country and Abuja to ask about how potent this material is. Before we take the review, let us find out. We'll ask that you focus on the screen. It will not be us showing, but it's a little story put together by our team to tell the story of the documentary of this book. Please put your hands together for our team. We especially thank the Honorable Minister of Aviation, thank you very much, sir. We believe very soon we'll be flying a green aircraft, a real Nigerian aircraft. Thank you very much. And he should be landing at the Warri Airport. Please clap for him.
We are in a time of great evolution. There's a whole lot happening, especially in the media space, in the media ecosystem. And the evolution is so rapid that we're all, every day we wake up, we're trying to catch our breath. My name is Azu Ishekwene. Been a journalist for about 35 plus years. Started out in 1988. I've done nothing else but journalism in the last 35 plus years. And I think I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'd reached a point in my career where I should lead younger folks through the seasons that fostered my craft. So it was as a means of documenting that experience, and I thought I should do the book.
He's a seasoned writer who talks about his topics with a lot of insight and maturity. And just like there's a topic here, I hope I can see it now, that says there is nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed.
There's a huge amount of content out there, all sorts of content, especially, but I thought that I needed to put something together that might help younger folks and perhaps a few older ones see how they can create value or monetize much of that content in the very, very fast evolving media ecosystem that we are going through. I also discovered that there was a gap in terms of what students learn at school and what the workplace experience offers them.
This is where we clap for the
Found a
team for
few
doing a good job.
Caught my attention. The first thing that got me is the first chapter, the title of the first chapter. It says, "The only way to find your voice is to use it." That just makes so much sense. If you don't use your voice first, how will you find it?
I have written and carefully put this book together in a way that even non-journalists will find it useful. It's useful for people who are interested in clear, concise, impactful communication, especially in the form of writing. Or if you are creating other forms of content, money flows in the direction of value, all right? And so it's possible to monetize content if you get to the point where you are creating any sort of content that people find useful and valuable. People will pay for something when it's valuable. Really, there isn't any other way of creating anything of value if you are not willing to apply effort. So my advice or my suggestion, if it's of any use to younger people, would be that the more they would find ultimately that the more effort, the more deliberate, intentional effort they put in studying, in reading something that is of value, the more creative they would be, whether in terms of literary expression or just in terms of expressing themselves in whatever form that they may have been gifted or talented to do so. So my advice would be that people should apply themselves more to study and to more study, because it is out of the abundance of what you have that you'll be able to share with others and hopefully make some value from it.
I think this book will live on. In my mind's eye, I'm seeing that this book may be adopted by higher institutions for their media departments. And I'm not just saying it because of the relationship that I have with Mr. Azubike. It is a good book. It is actually a good book. And he has put in years of great work in this space.
The book also benefited greatly, and I did, of course, from interviewing wide range of professionals from different age brackets, including, of course, a Pulitzer Prize winner in journalism. I'm speaking, of course, of Mr. Dele Olojede. So it's also an encounter with people across all generations, people who have practiced, who have been a victim and who have seen this, either been a victim and triumphed, and then we share experiences with them in this book about how they overcame some of the obstacles that they faced.
You cannot find a more diligent, a more hardworking, a more conscientious leader and worker as he is. That's my take on him personally. You can take that to the bank.
Thank you very much. I needed to be sure that it was only part 1 we are showing. This thing is in part 2, part 3, and part 4. If you want to buy the full CD, we'll be selling it outside. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to bring the one who will tell us about the book. Apart from the author, is the first official person who read the book, but he did so because he's so qualified. He's an illustrious individual who has danced gracefully across the diverse stages of the media, dazzling audiences with insightful critics, enlightening students with profound wisdom, and commanding the screen with an effortless charm that keeps viewers riveted. Distinguished guest, his tenure as presidential spokesman added another feather to his already impressive cap, showcasing the depth of ability to navigate the complex corridors of power with poise and precision. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce a veritable Renaissance figure in the world of journalism, a seasoned journalist, a charismatic anchor, an astute critic, a revered teacher, a captivating TV host, and a former presidential spokesperson. Our media team has put together a little about him. Please focus on the screen as they tell us who exactly I'm talking about. Please put your hands together for him.
Book reviewer, Dr. Ruben Abati. Dr. Abati is a renowned journalist, television anchor, law school graduate, and widely syndicated columnist. He was the former chairman of the editorial board of The Guardian. He was also senior special advisor of media and publicity to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and a former deputy governorship candidate in Ogun State. He earned a first-class honors degree and a doctorate in theater arts, specializing in dramatic literature, theory, and criticism. Additionally, he is a Hubert H. Humphrey Fellow from the College of Journalism at the University of Maryland. Dr. Abati has received numerous accolades, including the Cecil King Memorial Prize for Print Journalism of the year 1998, the Diamond Award for Media Excellence for Informed Commentary 1998 to 2000, the Fletcher Challenge Commonwealth Prize for Opinion Writing 2000, the Freedom Peace Prize for Journalism 2006. Since 1999, he has been a member of the Ogun State University Governing Council, a widely published author and literary critic. Dr. Abati is also an Aspen Global Leadership Network member. Book reviewer.
Our father is very happy. Sam Amoka Kwemo. Good morning, sir. My boss and mentor, Alaji Najim Jimo, colleagues, friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, what do I say? I'm very happy to be here. Azu and I, we've been together forever, since those days when we used to live in one part of Lagos, very close to Ogun State, where if you wanted to produce a newspaper, you'll find everybody there, from sub-editor to editor to chairman, editorial board. But it's good to see many of our colleagues who have moved from that end, who now live in Ikoyi. Some even came to Abuja, like Femi Adesina, and they've refused to go back. So we're really very happy. It's a very happy moment for all of us. And I see my senior brother, Mr. Bayo Nonuga there. Okay, great to be here. My review is titled, Writing for Media, Where is the Money? I was drawn to this book almost instantly by its title, Writing for Media and Monetizing It. Azu Shekwene, the author, and I have been colleagues and friends for decades. We have spent more or less the same stretch of time in this business of reporting and analyzing society and other people's life and times. And here comes Azu sending me a book in which he talks about how Ozu can be monetized. Is there something Azu knows that I don't know? And in this our business of being friends, he has been making money on top of our heads. And he has been keeping the secret to himself until now that he thinks he can share some of the tips. He has been keeping secrets. The speed with which I rushed to use a common phrase into the book is imaginable. My discovery is that the title is misleading. Azu is a vintage, tested editor, a master of headlines casting and crafting, something he has done for more than 30 years. It got me hooked. With a catchy title, it gets you into the story and it leads you on. You know the game. So catch the reader's attention, a precious commodity in journalism, and then peel the story layer by layer in an onion peeling fashion. In terms of procedure, this is what Azu Shekwene does in this book. For the benefit of the ordinary enthusiast, journalism is not a money-making machine for the reporter, the editor, the producer, or the cameraman, especially in a country like Nigeria, where due to the general dispossession of the economy, media owners are struggling to pay salaries, the business environment is hostile, and there is no deliberate, informed, and conscious effort on the part of government to connect culture to the development process and provide necessary incentives. Even in other countries where cultural policy appropriately centers the mass media and the freedom of information, journalism is a profession driven by commitment, the urge to be heard and to make a difference, and a readiness to learn and relearn continuously. This is the actual thrust of this publication. Nonetheless, Samuel Johnson, in a famous self-deprecatory statement, once said that no one but a blockhead ever wrote except for money, but his heart. Pablo Picasso, the painter, said he did not want to be saddled with material worries like a pauper. He wanted a lot of money. It is not only Picasso to whom money appeals. We all want money. But Azu Shekwene's writing for media and monetizing it is more than that. It strikes a balance between traditional media practice and opportunities available to the writer in the age of digital adaptation. But this is more a book about the art and craft of journalism itself in an age of transition, covering a broad range of issues: personal development, voice and style, impact writing, the law, managing the social media and its discontents, journalism in the age of artificial intelligence, branding, and self-reinvention. The book is enriched by the many voices that it projects. This is not just Azu Shekwene speaking to us. We are offered examples and the voices of other journalists across the spectrum of print and social media, making the book all the more relatable, delivered in a classic precision writing style. Azu writes in an economic fashion. His style is concise. It is most refreshing to hear the voices in this book across generations of the likes of Farouk Beroge, Sam Omashe, Fisayo Shuyombo on social media responses and how to manage feedback and trolls. Chapter 8 at pages 71 to 76. Abimbola Delakun and Rona Meyer on branding. Chapter 12 at pages 110 to 117. The examples of Linda Ikeji, Abdusalam Idris, Tunde Ednot, and Adeola Fayeon. Chapter 13, Making Money, at pages 125 to 128. Professor Toyin Falola and Tunde Odediran on self-reinvention. Chapter 14, at pages 141 to 152. And the more extensive conversation with Dele Olojede and Toyosi Ogunsheye in chapter 15, titled In Life, Luck and God Matter, focusing on two icons, different journeys. The book is 259 pages long with a total of 15 chapters and one appendix. The book does not cover the subject of ethics, an oversight in my view, given the fact that there are many issues of rights and wrongs in professionalism in contemporary journalism practice. And whereas the book closes with an appendix, namely the Competition and Consumer Act of Australia 2021, there could have been a longer reflection on media content and legislation in Nigeria, given the big challenge that this currently poses as well. But I must say that this is a book that I have enjoyed very much and thoroughly too. One of my pet worries has been the linkage between the universities and polytechnics and journalism practice, raising questions about the teaching of journalism in Nigeria, and particularly the curriculum. In other jurisdictions, those who teach in journalism schools are mostly persons who have been experienced practitioners, leading award winners, and writers who are on the faculty because they know, and they have been on the rough and tumble field of practice. This is not necessarily the case in Nigeria. I stand to be corrected. But I dare say that most of the scholars who teach journalism in most of our institutions of higher learning are persons who have all the degrees, but they have never been in a newsroom or have a microphone pinned to their chests. Many of them have never even written a letter to the editor worthy of publication. And yet, they churn out students who are very smart at quoting Masha McLuhan and a long list of dead theorists, but they can't write a successful paragraph, nor do they know a story when they see it. Their teachers do not know any better. Azu Ishekwene's book wakes me up afresh to this worry, and the fact that the book serves an important purpose. It is written by a practitioner who has risen to the very top in the practice, offering tutorials to the would-be journalists and the old hand who needs to reinvent and adapt. Our journalism schools in Nigeria are too far away from the field. The students are occasionally sent to the media houses as interns by their lecturers, but the lecturers know all the textbook stories, and the media houses, you have to train and retrain these tyros who come around. Journalism should be taught by those who have been on the field, and perhaps the same principle should be applied in other professions as well, to establish the proper linkage and transition between school and the world of work. Azu Ishekwene, the author of this book, was once a part-time volunteer lecturer of journalism at the University of Lagos and the Nigeria Institute of Journalism, Ogba, Lagos. Volunteer, you see, not always about the money. It is his type that should be teaching the art of writing and journalism, and that is precisely what he does in this book, adding to the bibliography on the desirable linkage between the town and the gown, between theory and practice. In this regard, this book acquires yet another significance. It is standard practice, as I pointed out earlier on, for accomplished journalists to write and also publish, even beyond the limitation of the newsroom, and document their experiences, observations, and reflections in a permanent form. They translate from being persons who capture history in a hurry into authors who write history about society, individuals, and the practice itself. This refreshingly is becoming a growing trend in Nigeria, and which should be encouraged, with journalists putting their thoughts and experience in more permanent form. Before now, Aziz Shekwena had published The Trial of Nuhu Ribadu. This then is his second offering in this line of business. It belongs beyond the newsroom in the enterprise, in the class of an emerging class of Nigerian journalist authors. To name a few, Akogun Tola Adeniyi, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, Ray Eku, Nana Gbese, Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi, Kunle Ajibade, Olatunji Dare, Olusegun Adeniyi, Sam Da Isaiah, Sunday Dare, Simon Kolawole, Musikiliu Majid, Wale Adedayo, Shina Kaonishe, Festus Adedayo, Sunala Olumense, Abimbola Adelakun, quite a long list, as it were. Reiterating the links between journalism and authorship, academia, and practice, and how in reality the cross-fertilization enriches an ongoing conversation about the human enterprise. To all intents and purposes, writing for media and monetizing it is essentially conceived as a training manual for the young journalist or writer, and a refresher manual for the older hand at the craft, who is caught between the old and the new. In a season where innovations and phenomena constantly change at the speed of light due to the intense and form-changing patterns enabled by technical reproducibility in all spheres of human endeavor. As we shake when it covers, to borrow a legalese, the field, providing us with the equivalent of a masterclass, a TED Talk in print about journalism, its tone, tint, and shape in today's world. His submissions are rooted in his own print media background and the transformation that he and others have experienced in the context of media practice in the age of convergence. The print journalists of old, who wrote longhand in the newsroom or sat in a corner somewhere monitoring the radio, or functioned and got his message across with the help of a typist, does not belong in this new age. The character of the newsroom has changed. The production process has been transformed by technology. Using his own personal experiences and newsroom narratives, Ishekwene captures the image of a newsroom in transition. And now the modern journalist in the digital age must learn the new tricks of practice. Peter F. Drucker, the management scientist, had written that invention and adaptability are two factors central to the survival of business. Azubike Ishekwene provides lessons in adaptation, but it begins with tips about the very nature of the trade itself, and is very practical about his submissions, providing in every chapter a summary and a reading list after the fashion and standard of training manuals. This is a book by a master practitioner advising the young and the old about the how of our trade. Hence, the chapters offer advice about how a writer journalist can find his or her voice and the importance of originality and feedback, how to find a subject and write about it, style and its elements, how to find and use resources, make impact, avoid stepping on the wrong side of the law, how to manage feedback and trolls in a season dominated by the sheer unavoidable democratization of the media space, which really has turned every citizen into a journalist, blurring the lines, literally. Everybody's a journalist these days. Only about 3 chapters in this book out of 15 deal directly with making money, and certainly not in the sense in which making money has become a base affliction in Nigeria. Ishekwene writes about syndication in chapter 10, writing for global audiences in chapter 11, and branding your content in chapter 12. But the kind of money this journalist writes about may not even be earned without contacts, connections, distinctive practice, and ability. I find particularly noteworthy the author's reflections on how the emergence and impact of social media and artificial intelligence has disrupted the practice. The predicted death of the newspaper, like the predicted death of the author, has not occurred. What has changed is the mode of practice and the pressing impact of new forms. This author does not preach against change. Rather, he encourages adaptation and innovation, 2 values at the center of the reality of media convergence. A big takeaway is that the journalist aspiring on old must read to learn new ideas, new turns of phrase, styles, and trends. Reading maketh the man, says Francis Bacon, and in this book, Ishekwene signposts the value of reading without necessarily showing off. It remains for the public to read this book too. I recommend writing for media and monetizing it as a useful text that should become part of the teaching list in our schools of journalism, and as a handy text for the practitioner who needs to be reminded of basic ideas in this troubled age when the newsroom is increasingly populated by an emerging crowd of tyros who can hardly put a story together. The book is published by Premium Times, an online media company, which in Nigeria is a comforting reminder of the vast possibilities of convergence. And talking about money, Premium Times, they are the ones going to make the money. This is an eminently readable book. I urge you all to get a copy and read it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think that applause needs to be better. Let's clap some more for him. When they told me that it was Dr. Ruben Abati who will review the book, I was afraid. A few years ago, Pati Maluko wrote a book. I was the MC for that book launch, and he was the reviewer. By the time he finished dissecting that book, I didn't know whether I was able to sell the book. But today, and that is because he's a special kind of reviewer. He uses wisdom and wit and a sharp blend of intellect and engaging presence. He's always truthful, whether he's dissecting the day's headlines, shaping the mind of journalists, or whether he's just reviewing a book. But today, the coloration of his beautiful piece about this book is not just because Dr. Ruben Abati is bending for a friend, but it is because the work is beautiful. And like the sun that comes through the ray of a glass cathedral, Azu's masterpiece is the very essence of his careful craft and attention to details. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a deviation from the historical Onitsha market literature, which we commend, but this is a masterful improvement by a master of the job. Both the reviewer and the writer, beautiful work. If Mr. Azu was an artisan, he would be a dry cleaner or a street sweeper. But because he's an editor, we refer to him as a refinery. Please put your hands together especially for him. We're taking a few messages, but traditionally I say this before we do most of other things, that please, we may do other discussions. The focus of today is the fact that we are monetizing a writing. And the first true test of that ability is to sell this book. That is why they brought me. I am no longer a journalist. Right now, I'm a mediapreneur. I sell what journalists produce. So please, I will appeal to all of you. Don't hurry away. We will have a beautiful panel. We will have discussions after that. But the most important thing, the practical aspect of today's experience is the ability for you to buy the book because we are selling it to you. Hello? Normally, I don't get responses when I talk about selling. But please put your hands together for yourselves because we know that together we'll make that happen.
Thank you so much. Can we please put our hands together as we recognize the CEO of the founder and CEO of Tony Elumelu Foundation, Mr. Tony Elumelu, who is duly represented by the first MD CEO of a multinational hospitality corporation. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. We're referring to none other than Mrs. Dupe Olushola. Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you so much for making our time to be here. We greatly appreciate you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You are representing Tony Elumeluma. Thank you. Thank you, ma. I'll remind you later. What he did for somebody in London, you will do in Nigeria. Please clap for her. So very quickly, we will be going into the panel. But before then, we also have another money house institution. They are our friends, they are our partners, and they are here to support us.
The regional head of United Bank of Africa. We're referring to Ire Charles Osagiede. Please put your hands together for him.
Is that the same thing as UBA? Okay, it's UBA. Please put your hands together for that bank. Is the representative here? Thank you. Madam, so we know where to take our POS. Please put your hands together for her.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So very quickly, we want to go to the panel. Our panelists are very seasoned. They are beautiful. They are prepared for this. Yes, and for our panelists, I need to remind you, there's a paragraph in the letter that I may need to read to you before you go. Maybe you left it out. It says, "Dear panelists, you were invited because you have a lot to say. However, because of time, we hope that you speak concisely and straight to the point. Thank you very much for helping us to manage time." Please put your hands together for the panelists.
Thank you so much. So we're honored to have ladies first. The first lady on the panel, an amazing woman and one who has a lot to share. We're counting on the media to project her profile. But before then, she is the founder and CEO of the Radio Now 95.3 FM and has been doing incredible work in the media space. And I'm referring to none other than Miss Kadaria Ahmed. So for due to time, I've just been informed that we just move into without the audio formality. Please put your hands together as we welcome Miss Kadaria Ahmed. Thank you so much. The second on the panel is an amazing CEO, Aegis and Blue. We're referring to none other than Mr. Emeke Shiekwene. Please put your hands together. Thank you, ma'am, for coming. Please put your hands together for this powerhouse. And the moderator for this panel is a professor of mass communication. He's the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies, Bayes University, Abuja. I am referring to none other than Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Please put your hands together. That hands can be bigger and better. You can make it louder. Thank you so much. And our panel have just 20 minutes to share the whole lot that they've come to share with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The author organizers have really done a lot to help us, outlining what our focus should be. Okay. Mr. Joseph, Ade Joseph, are you here? Ade Joseph is also supposed to be a member of the panel. Chisom Ukoma, are you here?
Sorry, she's not here.
I'm not sure they are here.
Okay, sir. So before we move in, we continue.
Okay.
We'd like to also welcome the CEO of the Chief Executive Officer of Media Trust. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ahmed Shekarau as we welcome him to the stage. Please put your hands together for him. We're talking about monetizing. How has he been able to run this all these years? Please put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, just before the panel starts their duty, may I especially welcome the representative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the chairman of the EFCC, is represented by Mr. Ola Olukoyede. Please put your hands together. Thank you very much. We also have a former spokesperson of the PDP and former spokesperson of a former Senate president, Mr. Kola Ologbodinyo, is with us. Also, chairman, Group CEO of the Dark Communications, owners of AIT and Repower, Mr. Tony Akiotu, is also with us. Thank you very much for your time. Chairman, you may take over, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, for excellent moderation. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, our task is straightforward. We want to engage some of the issues, adjacent to the title of the book, The Trust of the Book by Mr. Ishokweme. And of course, we're talking about the new age of mass communication. Is it possible for us to be commercial, to be transactional, considering the opportunities available against the background of the increased sophistication in instruments, channels of communication? And of course, how do we resolve matters around declining advert revenue, rising cost of production, content and staff quality, risk and opportunities, and the very important issue of the coming of artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, hypertext document, and do we begin to conclude that AI will replace our ability to practice as humans, or it will simply augment our abilities as humans? This are a range of issues. You may feel free to speak to anyone that tickles your fancy. You're welcome. Let me start with the lady.
Thank you very much. My brother Azu, congratulations. I think this is a very timely book. There is a little bit, I think, of misinformation going around advertising spend and what has happened to it. Because the Nigerian economy isn't doing very well at the moment, the assumption advertising has actually dwindled is not true. The latest report by PwC, which I looked at this morning before coming here, shows that advertising spend in total has actually grown. Between 2018 to about 2004, we've seen a rise of almost 2 to 3. Total expenditure in marketing communication was 605.2 billion in 2023. And the expectation is that it is going to rise. I put out these numbers because I think we need to make a distinction. Media is an all-encompassing term. There's a difference between entertainment media and news media, which is what a lot of us here do, journalism. Holding people in power accountable is very distinct and very different from creating content that serves to entertain people. So there is a part of the media, especially the digital media, that is growing exponentially. The part of the media that is not growing in terms of monetization is the hard part. Ironically, it is the part that we actually need more than any other. because in an age of disinformation, fake news, misinformation, and in an age in which governments are becoming a little bit more totalitarian, as we've seen even in places like Europe and the United States, the work of holding power accountable continues to be really, really significant. And so the challenge is really finding how you can do that work of holding power accountable while at the same time continuing to make money in a way that does not compromise you. Because, you know, the saying of the person who pays the piper dictates the tune. And even within the Nigerian media space, this book launch, for example, Premium Times is kind of showing the way on how you can monetize while continue to do that important work of investigative journalism and accountability journalism. These are the two things that are really critical in journalism. So they've got a publishing arm. They've got verification sites like Dubawa, which raise money from donors. And essentially, our job is to start thinking of products that the audience need and they will pay for, and use that to supplement the really important work that is not sexy. So I just, wanted to make that distinction between news media and sort of content production and all of that. The second thing I wanted to say is that it's around AI. So there's a lot of fear around people saying that AI is coming to take our jobs. AI is not going to take your job unless you are a very lazy journalist. Because again, at the heart of journalism is accountability, holding power accountable and making sure that you basically set agendas, all the things that we do well. No machine is going to do that for you, right? So if you're the sort that is what I call press cut and paste, where you take press releases and just put them in your newspaper, on your radio or TV station, then yes, you should be afraid of AI. But AI is actually going to be a tool that will enable you do a lot of things. I am fascinated by the possibility of using blockchain technology, for example, for embedding verified news, especially in an era again of deep fakes, etc., etc. So technology can actually be used to enhance what we do, to ensure that we get stamps of authenticity and all sorts of things on news that has been verified. I've been told I have to speak very quickly. So the last thing that I perhaps want to talk about, sorry, let me just grab my glasses. I'm a bit blind. Is that there are business models that we've seen that are gaining in popularity. Mehdi Hassan has just launched Zito after leaving MNSBN, and essentially it's a subscription model where his brand as an accountability journalist is so big globally and his work is respected that he has gone off from being part of the mainstream and has set up a platform. And his subscribers basically, he has a free model, but he also has a subscription model. And people who believe in what he's doing are helping him to pay for that. Daily Maverick in South Africa has a membership program that is also relatively successful. So building communities around the content that you do is really important, because that community, if it values what you do, will pay for content, if not direct subscription, but providing sponsorship and support. But there are two other things that I think are important, particularly in this market. I think medium scale media businesses are going to suffer. So I think people need to either scale up or become a very niche media organization. So if you have a niche market, if my radio station, for example, is based in Lagos Island, and there are specifics that we do tailored to that particular audience within Lagos Island, whether it is the market women in Balogun, whether it is the traders, the cultural associations, the festivals that take place there, etc., etc. So niche marketing, right? But we also need scale in order to be able to survive. So I think it's that medium that is going to continue to be a problem. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Madam Kaderia, for that exhaustive helicopter coverage of the subject matters I highlighted. You practically covered the range of topics that the author outlined for us around declining advert revenue, rising cost of production, content and staff quality, risk and opportunities, and of course, the coming of AI ethics and fake news. By that, I think you're also giving the other panelists a template, in your intervention. Try and provide, um, just like she did, an helicopter overview of what you think, maybe taking from where she stopped. She was concerned about, commercial leveraging, how can we be commercial in the age of the sophistication of technology. Then, of course, the question of social responsibility featured in our submission. Then, of course, accountability. Then the much talked about misinformation, disinformation, and I think it's Dr. Batty that I often like to add malinformation and to some extent infotech as infodemic that WHO often talks about as well. Do you want to expand your own comments into those areas that are equally critical to the discourse of media and communication, as the case could be? Who will talk next? Yeah, Shekara.
Okay, I can take it from. Start by also congratulating Azu for this thoughtful book. Kadria has actually set the tone for our discussion, and I like what she said about the mental or intellectual laziness of some of us to actually think innovatively to come up with new revenue streams for our media platforms. Clearly, for the mainstream media, like she said, it's actually a very hard nut to crack. There is so much money that is actually moving away from the mainstream media industry towards the entertainment arm of the media. And just last Monday, our friend and colleague, Rufai Oseni, dished out, very important information that is actually very shocking to a lot of us. He said he was having a discussion with the communications manager of one of the multinational companies, and the gentleman told him, how their advertising revenue has actually descended from 16 billion naira in 2016 to 600 million in 2024. That's a 96% crash, for one of the multinational, companies, and they are the leading advertisers in our climate. Now, for the mainstream media, that shows how hugely challenged we are. And we know that advertising, contributes 80 to 85% of the revenue for, the mainstream media, whether broadcast or print. Now, this is a huge challenge. But like Adria said, even within our client, we have organizations like Business Day that are actually turning, turning around the fortunes. They are turning the corner in terms of innovative ways of, coming up with revenues that enhance, what they do. I had two encounters, in the last 2 years with the publisher of Business Day, uh, last year and the year before last. And during those, interactions, he told me how, for instance, Business Day is actually using events and conferences to contribute up to 25% of its revenue stream. To its revenue stream. So that tells you that there are so many innovative ways that we can deploy. Premium Times, as Kadria said, is already using the Premium Times, book publishing arm to also support, some other revenues that they get from other streams. But there's still the very valid point about whether our colleagues are actually even prepared to transit, from just being journalists to being entrepreneurs, because you need that entrepreneurship skill. The minister, made the point that in this room alone, we have so many generals, some of whose names, you can take to the bank, and earn billions. But then, their write-ups actually excite us, interest us in so many respects. But how do you monetize some of these contents that they actually produce. So this is, one of the key challenges that we have. For our own organization, we reckoned with these challenges when we first saw the cover of The Economist magazine titled The Death of the Newspaper. We said, look, this is the time that we need to start, first of all, innovating, but much more than that, even cutting so much of our costs. One key area that we know that we have control, over is actually to cut the costs, because the advert revenue, like I painted the picture about 16 billion, naira, advertising budget coming down to 600 million. You don't have control over it. The marketing communications manager decides where to put even that 600 million. They tell you that, look, they are actually supporting, sponsorship of, maybe the Commonwealth Games coming up in Paris. But, when you look at, some of your costs, a lot of maybe members of the audience will be surprised that, for instance, Trust has decided that we are collapsing, our Sunday and Saturday editions into one weekend title. That's a creative way of managing the costs. Of course, we have so many other things that we do. We have now developed, some shared services, as a multimedia group now. Sometimes when we have events, we send one reporter with a TV camera to cover for 2 or 3 of our platforms, instead of sending 3 people, one for radio, one to cover for the newspaper, and then the other to cover for the TV platform. So there are so many areas where we can, even Punch,
Thank you
if
very
you take
much,
it
sir.
within our client, Punch is also, doing a lot in terms of transiting, ensure sustainability.
Thank you very much, Alaji Shekar, for that excellent intervention coming essentially from the revenue aspects. And of course, what we can deduce from there is that yes, challenges will always come. Even in our everyday, ordinary life, we face challenges, but we should regard challenges as an opportunity for innovation. And in the world of the increased sophistication in technologies of communication, opportunities are opening. So if these opportunities are expanding, what it means again is that we shouldn't rest on our oars. We can be much more creative, much more ingenious. Faced with declining revenue, there are avenues that we can leverage on, such that we will not suffer the pangs of the new changes that we are witnessing, as the case could be. And I'm not going to move to Emeke. What do you think about what they have said?
Yeah, thanks. I'm not quite sure this works. Okay. Thanks. As it's an honor to be on this panel. As something of an unknown on the panel, I think it's important to introduce myself. I'm Emeka. I've built a new media startup before, worked in venture capital, investing in startups. But perhaps my greatest accomplishment is an accident of birth. Right, my father is Azubike Shekuni, and it's noteworthy today that that accomplishment is particularly noteworthy today because I'm immeasurably proud of the amount of work that he's put and care that he's put into getting this book out. My father is a great craftsman, right? He's done this for many years, and it's a great honor, anyways. And it ties into my journey so far and how it relates to how I think of the media. When I built my last startup, the idea what we wanted to achieve was stories don't exist in a vacuum, right? It's historical context that we often lose. So when you think about the cholera outbreak, that it's not a standalone issue, for example. It exists in the context of land use, for example. It exists in the context of drainage systems. It exists in the context of previous cholera outbreaks. And we thought it was particularly important to be able to tell stories from that perspective, right? And my father was incredibly, helpful. what's changed since I built that startup to now is that the barrier for creativity has lowered tremendously, right? I imagine quite a few people here have used ChatGPT, have used some sort of AI app or the other over the last year. And the friction between imagining a thing and creating a thing is at the most minimal point it perhaps has ever been in history, right? That you can type a thing and make a thing just as quickly as your imagination goes. And that's a big shift, particularly for us here, in our own part of the world. It changes how we think about some of the works that we've done. I grew up, for example, reading Dr. Abati's back page column. And that, if you think about the whole period of decades that he's done that column for example, that it chronicles decades of our history of who we were, snapshots in time of who we were. And as the AI boom kind of goes on and the West, builds on its research, etc., it's when we think about monetization, it's particularly important to remember that we have a very deep base of data, of stories that we ourselves have told that were valuable then, are valuable now, and will only become exponentially more important as we move into the future and seek to find ourselves there. Who were we, right? Because it's the clearest indication into who we might become, right? And it's a lot of work that I know, for example, that the Honorable Minister of Information has done, for example, with the anthem, that it harkens back to a time of patriotism, etc. But it's particularly important that we remember. And when we think about what we've gathered over the last 10, 20, 100 years, I believe that there is real opportunity for us to look back on what we've done as valuable to powering these AI systems that the West is building, right? That even though the barrier to entry for building AI systems is billions and billions of dollars, we have centuries worth of stories that are very, very important so that when we look forward in the next 100 years, the racial bias, the economic disparity, the challenges that we've encountered for centuries are not repeated for centuries to come, right? That if you were, for example, to go to ChatGPT and ask it to translate a thing in your local dialect, it simply cannot do that today. And that's because our history isn't represented in its data sets, right? But we do have that data, we do have these stories, and I think it's particularly important that we can archive, preserve them, for example, digitize them where possible, that it will become a very, very useful revenue streams for publications, storytellers for the next generation as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Wonderful perspective from the point of view of a young person. And of course, you highlighted the question of creativity and the fact that we're in a dynamic world, reflecting different experiences. The changes are continuing, as the case could be, and once more, the task upon us is for us to adapt to those changes, so that we'll not be left behind, as the case could be, yeah? But now, yes, we have made our interventions. We're going to round up by providing maybe one or two sentence input on how we think that we can adapt, to the continuing changes against the background of our peculiar political economy, where we have difficulties with infrastructure, with utilities, with resources, and where the debate on the dichotomy between the North and South in terms of accessibility, affordability to technologies of communication is still raging. So how do we cope within this matrix as a people, as a nation, and to some extent as well as a continent? One or two sentence intervention. I will come back to you, madam.
Okay, I think I want to just, if you don't mind, quickly say, I think these numbers are important. I said them and I don't think they hit. Marketing spend in 2023 was 605 billion. Of that, though, 443 was in digital media, right? So really important to understand that you can't be in the industry if you're not playing in the digital space. So that's the first thing I wanted to do. The second intervention I wanted to make is around AI. We've seen the first national law on AI out of the EU, which has sort of giving us, if you like, a framework. For the EU, it is a very set down rules and regulations about how you use AI, what you can use it for, and what you can't use it for. It's important to carry our biases into the way we use AI. So we actively need to start thinking about how to use AI. But in closing, I think the most important thing to say, especially to a room like this, is that we have to understand journalism continues to be really, really important. You talk about north-south divide, you talk about the problems we have, infrastructural decay. All of these things are the reasons why we must continue to hold people in government accountable. And that's what journalism does. What that means is that we need to find ways for citizens, educate them to understand the significance of what we do so that we get support for it. Instead of, we're not going to make the same money as the people who do music or who do Nollywood. But what we do is significant. It is what enables others to do what they do because we help to build society.
Thank you very much. Shekara,
Because I think
how do we adapt?
one of the key things we need to do, especially for our own environment, is to work hard in changing the mindsets of our colleagues or our own mindsets, all of us. And what am I driving at? As journalists, we still seem to be stuck in the past in terms of, rushing every now and then to give voices to the most confident voices in our society rather than the thoughtful ones. There are a lot of stories that need to be told that will actually generate some of the traffic that we require to our sites. And then we can redirect, this traffic consciously from our Facebook pages, because if they go to Facebook, you're actually creating avenue for Facebook to make money. Even if you create a WhatsApp channel, creating an avenue for those owners of that platform to make money, you redirect to your own website such that you can harness that potential. But, if you look at, our front pages, especially for the newspapers, with all due respect to them, a politician talks. That's the biggest story. Meanwhile, we are at a moment when you have a highly rebellious audience that you actually you need to work hard to define what their preferences are. What do they want for them to come? Once they see, look, you're talking of
Thank you very
politician A or
much.
B, they move away from your own side and
Thank
then
you.
go to where they actually think their interests, or their
Thank you.
their interests are sound.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Emeke, what do you think? How do we adapt to the changing circumstances of technology?
Keep writing. I think it is the most radical thing that you can do for your blog, for your column, on your Twitter. Just keep writing, right? It captures who we are. It captures why you're here, but that even as Ahmed pointedly put together, it's so very important, the stories that you can tell, right? Even in a world of AI where the barrier is reduced, but technologies like AI ultimately they'll write things for you that are just about average, but your thoughts will always be novel, right? No AI systems will write as well as Uncle Sam's pieces, for example. So keep writing. I think that's particularly important.
All right, thank you. Excellent. Yeah, I think we've done justice to it from our own deduction. And of course, the point we're making is that, like everything in life, technology is going to be changing constantly. And if you look at the history of the evolution of these technologies, each time they come, they've always come with some unimportant downsides that seem to threaten existence. From the time of the coming of the telegraph, for instance, up to the telephone, up to satellite television, and of course, when we had internet in the first instance, came with all kinds of danger. We're moving into the world of artificial intelligence now. It's upon us. It has its own downsides. The challenge for man, for humanity, is to develop ways of adapting to it, because it's a fact that is upon us. We cannot run away from it. We'll live through it, consistent with our experiences with all new technologies. When the aeroplane came, we were celebratory, but it came with its own disadvantage, crashes. But we survived it. We are perfecting it, even though we have not concluded it yet. So we'll be working through these challenges, and that's the conclusion I think we are drawing from this session. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going that you please clap for them for me. Thank you.
And I also ask that we clap for the moderator. We'll stand for a group picture. Can we invite Mr. Azu to join them, please, for a group picture? Traditionally, we should... Madam, two of you are still chairmen in this matter. We'll take this picture quickly. Thank you very much. This panel is in-depth knowledge and shared within time. I'll please ask this audience to plead with Madam Kadaria to smile a little.
Thank you so kindly. Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge. Thank you. We appreciate you. Indeed, we have to embrace artificial intelligence in order to magnify the human intelligence. Thank you so kindly.
According to a recent survey, there are about 1.2 million children in Abuja who need access to education. Of that number, about 60% of them are unable to pay their fees. We have a group of people led by Mr. Azu himself, the Open Fees, who decided that they should put together monies to be able to pay fees for indigent students in the FCT who are not able to pay their fees. I've also been told that the money we make from this launch, a substantial amount of that amount will be sent also to paying school fees for indigent students in the FCT. I'm saying this because I know that the senator for the FCT is with us, so that she knows that the money she's making is not for an editor alone. He will spend part of it, but a lot of the other will be used to pay school fees for children, your children, ma. That means you may need to rewrite your check if you have not written it already. But distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next item on this program is to properly, formally unveil the book. And I know that they are representative of governors. Kogi is here. Plateau is here. These are people who appreciate schools and who want to take these books back. But it costs money to print. The first time I published a book, I spent all my earnings. I published 20,000 copies. At the launch, I sold 5 copies. And I took the rest home. Today, we don't intend to go home with any copy. Hello? So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, but the number one man who appreciates books, because he started by setting up magazines. Those of you who know the market will know that it was really a magazine about the market. We also see a lot of other things that I'm not allowed to talk about now. But distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our chairman will be supported by others as we approach that place to unveil the book. So please put your hands together as I invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. He'll be supported by our daddy. He will also be supported by the representative. Those in front, our VIPs in front, can we just go quickly as we meet with the author? Can we move this? Okay, there are 2 things there.
We kindly invite the representative of the UBA, United Bank of Africa.
The chairman of leadership, please. Ma, it's not possible to unveil this thing without you. Yeah, the chair of leadership.
Sam, you need to come close by. Good. Um, to the glory of God and on behalf of all of us that are gathered here, Uncle Sam, my sister, and the distinguished senator and the author himself, I have the distinct honor and privilege to unveil this book, How to Write for the Media and Getting Paid for It. Let me retweak the title. Actually, Uncle Sam was asking me, how do we actually make money in this? And I say, let us read Azu's book. So from today, we will unveil this, and I ask everyone to read this book. If you don't know how to make money after reading this book, please read the book again. So to the glory of God.
We'll unveil it and then we'll hold copies. Ushers, can we make copies available, please? Ushers. So if we come this way, we'll come this way for the picture, please. Let's come this way, please. Let's come this way. Sound people, if you reduce that sound, we'll hear ourselves better. Thank you. Those copies we are giving you are on loan. We are loaning you those copies. Please, if we open up a little, we'll have enough space for the photographers. Photographers, can we back off a little?
Photographers, can we please step backward a bit? Can we step backward a bit?
Sir,
Okay.
okay. Sir, if it's okay so that we can have a proper picture, let's just go up this way.
Okay, in that case, like this.
Okay, cameraman, can we move back a little so that we can open up this? Thank you, cameraman. Cameraman, don't snap only leg, please. Let's hold the book. Make sure you are not holding it upside down. It's good to smile. Just to remind you that these books you are holding are on loan. I've not given you yet. We want to sell them right about now.
Thank you so much. Can we please come up stage for another photograph and the proper launch? We crave your indulgence.
Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Hello? The Honorable Minister and our own revered Uncle Sam. Thank you very much, distinguished representative of various governments. We are about to go into the business proper of the sales of the book. And I know that some of us have come in various capacities to represent, but I want to properly allow that we do this in the right order. And it's on that note I want to invite, we have allowed you to see the book and to take a look at it. That's the first point. Permit me, therefore, to ask the Honorable Minister to make an official pronouncement and declare this market open. Please, ladies and gentlemen, can we be calm at the back, please? Hello? Our sales team, can we be calm at the back, please? Can we be calm at the back, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. Permit me, therefore, to invite His Excellency, the chairman of today's occasion, and the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, the Kakakin Nupi, to say a few words and officially declare the sales of these books open. Please put your hands together for him.
Can we make the hands louder and bigger?
Please put your hands together for him. Thank you.
I'm unsure if the minister is the right person to declare this open. But what I would say is that this is a very good book, and Uncle Sam, sitting right beside me, was asking again, how do we make money? Actually, he was asking me whether I have any ideas. I said, go and read Azu's book. So I will, on behalf of myself and the Ministry of Information and National, please, don't take what I'm saying as your benchmark. If you want to come up, please do 10 times what I'm about to say. But we're putting down 2 million naira for Mr. Azu, and we'll discuss the rest later. But anybody coming here, if you know that you're not going to triple it, please don't come. You must triple what I'm saying before you get qualified to come upstairs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you. I told you he's sincere and open, and he will do much more than this for us. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are going quickly to one of the trusted partners in this project. They started off as red and yellow, and others are copying them, but they have retained their color, they have not changed. Red is their mark. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the best bank so far. That's my bank. Please, the representative of UBA, the trusted bank. Whatever they tell you, they don't remove things when they send you a message. When they send you, my former bank, when they send me SMS, they told me that they have given me 1 naira as interest, and they use 4 naira to send me the SMS. But this bank, since I joined them, my life has changed. Please clap for UBA one more time. Thank you, ma.
The Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. I'm here representing UBA, United Bank for Africa PLC, and we remain committed as an institution to furthering education, to furthering intellect, because we all know that the author is a very great intellect and a very intelligent man. We are supporting this book launch with a sum of 10 million naira. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, particularly those at the back, I don't know if you heard what she said. United Bank for Africa supporting this book launch with a sum of 10 million naira. Please put your hands together for them. I told you that my bank is talking. Hello? Are we still together? They said I should breach protocol. Me, I'm going to my state too. All right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, JAM is buying 200 copies at 15,000 naira each, and that's the sum of 3 million naira. Please permit me to go to Kogi State. Kogi State know the value of books.
We are honored to also invite the senator representing Federal Capital Territory. Please put your hands together as we welcome Senator Ireti Kingibe.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm buying 5 copies of the book for an undisclosed amount, which I've already sent to the account. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma. We have seen the alert. God bless you, ma. I also felt tempted to announce it, but we appreciate it. Please put your hands together for the FCT. Now let's go to Kogi. Kogi has been performing since, and they will perform today.
Thank you very much, Ben. My name is Moses Okeze Okafor, and I'm the Director General Research and Development in Kogi State. I'm here representing His Excellency Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo of Kogi State, along with my colleague, Mr. Joseph Afolabi. He is the DG Kogi State Scholarship Board, and he's here to take some books back for our students. I actually have some comments from the governor. He wishes us to appreciate Mr. Azui Sekwene for writing this book. He calls it a guide for established and budding writers alike. And he lets us know that the book does not offer a magic wand, but it lays out clear rules that if you follow, you will not only write well, but you will make money from your writing. The Kogi State government has value for education. And as you may know, we recently, we have 2 brand new universities set up by the previous administration and this current one. His Excellency, Mr. Azu, hello, sir. The governor of Kogi State wishes me to let you know that he would have been here in person, but he had things that came up very early this morning. And so he says we should get 250 copies of this book for 5 million naira. And we will still talk with you to see how we can spread the gospel of this book. But for now, from Kogi State, it's 5 million naira for 250 copies that will be spread across our tertiary institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 250 copies of the book from Kogi State Governor at a sum of 5 million naira. Please put your hands together for them. Thank you very much. May we invite the representative of Tony Elumelu. Representative of Tony Elumelu, can we have you here? Representative of Tony Elumelu, I'm sure you have done the transfer. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, we have people in the audience who are already helping with marketing. Make sure you meet our marketers to pick up a copy. This is also to inform you that we have specialized packages. We'll bring them in a while. Those special packages, are they ready now? I've announced it just now. How much is it? 150, 120. So we have specialized copies of the book in pack, specialized copies of the book in pack for a pack of 10 and a pack of 20, just to be sure that you can carry that away. Thank you. Maokwe Ogun is in the house. I can also see former spokesperson of PDP, veteran journalist. Thank you very much, sir. Maokwe, should I announce something? Let's invite Garba Shehu, sir. Sir Bineni. Okay, we have seen your alert, sir. All right, the former Minister of Works and Housing, former Governor of Lagos State, has also sent his support. He sent a physical representative, and he also has done the needful. Distinguished guests, please, can we just be seated to listen to this vote of thanks? Distinguished Senator Amosun are also sent, 2 representatives, and he has also done the needful. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you all made my job extremely easy. Most people are on their feet on their way out. And that puts me out of the misery of having to observe protocol. But my most profound respects, of course, to the chairman of this occasion, dear Uncle Sam, who is also called Daddy DJ, and of course, the chairman of leadership. Let me tell you a story. Hi. I'd like to move this vote with a very short story, and I promise you it's going to be super short. It's about my father, Pa Robert Ishekwene, who died 28 years ago on the 28th of May. Whenever he was deeply overwhelmed, either by emotions of joy or negative emotions, he had a very peculiar way of expressing himself towards me. If I'd done something that deeply upset my father, he would scream or speak at the top of his voice and call me and say, Azu, you are done for. That phrase, done for, was worse than any punishment that I could expect. But if, on the other hand, I did something that he was extremely pleased and proud about, he would say something. You want to hear what he would say? Hello? He would say, Azu, you have done noble. For him, there was no higher form of appreciation or gratitude than this expression, you have done noble. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your contributions have made a remarkable difference in my life. I'm deeply grateful to each and every one of you for taking time out to share this moment with me and with my family and friends, and of course with the family of leadership. Looking at the excellent gathering, in my mind, I would have, looking at the excellent gathering and keeping in mind those who would have loved to come but are unable to do so, I am tempted to mention each of you by name and to acknowledge you and to acknowledge your positions and status and role. Not only by a handshake, I see my friend, Dr. Nia Adiosu, but also to give you a heart hug. Unfortunately, I'm unable to do so. But let me quickly recognize some people who have been key, front and center in this effort so far. Mr. Joseph Adeyeye, Mr. Samuel Osai, Mr. Wilson Onwuka, Mr. Freeman Olorun Toba, Mr. Emeke Ishekwene. If they are here, please applaud them. I would also like my special gratitude to go to members of the Marketing and Logistics and Mobilization Committee, famously called the LOC. The chairman of that committee, of course, being capacity himself, Mr. Louis Odion, Alhaji Jami Omojid, the deputy chairman, Alhaji Yusuf Ali, Alhaja Oyeyemi Kolapo, Mr. Moazu Elaze, Ms. Chinyere Fred Adegbulugbe, And again, Mr. Sam Osai, his name is mentioned twice, and there's a reason for that. I also would like to thank the chairman of leadership for her unflinching support. The chairman of this occasion, Alhaji Mohammed Idris Malagi, a brother and a friend, Uncle Sam, famously called Daddy DJ, the RMO Shoba, and many more who I'd like to express my profound gratitude to for taking their time to come. And of course, the vice chairman of leadership and all senior members of the management team, Dr. Ruben Abati, members of the panel, and of course, my wife, Rumen, who is chairing, I know, at this moment. If I made a mistake, and I'm ending here, so take this. If I made the mistake of calling you all by name, as I really desire to do, someone in this audience might just get up to me and say to me, Azu, you are done for. To put me out of my potential misery, let me end this vote, therefore, by saying to you all, may God, from whom all blessings come, abide with you all. I thank you, one and all. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So that we don't rule out of the blessings, our sound people will take the national anthem to formally close this event. Let's take the national anthem, please. The national anthem. Thank you very much. Please, for those of you who want your book signed, we'll ask that you wait behind. The book signing room is just the next one, but someone will come over, move you so that you can get your book signed. Thank you very much. My name is Ben 200, half human, half amazing. And I've been working with this beautiful lady.
Chineye, Priscilla, and Emena, MC Praise Vibes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Please remember the books that are still on sale. We have the sales point out there. We have POS. We have any form that you have. We collect cash. We also collect check. We collect Naira. We collect dollars. Thank you very much. Thank you. DJ, sound.